Have you ever had a situation where a person calls you and they tell you, I don't want you anymore, here's my new person here, and you're like, hey, there's no way, you are my person, you are my person. Have you ever been in that situation? Hello, Soul Tribe. Hello, Soul Family. Welcome to this channel where we heal and integrate, because consciousness is the new frontier. We are healing, removing distorted perceptions from our psyche. We are integrating, remembering the truth of who we are. And who we are is the divine human spirit, connected to God, connected to life, connected to each other, connected to all that is. Welcome. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share this content with kindred spirits. So, you are in love with a very toxic person. This person is abusive towards you, they humiliate you in public, they really treat you like you are absolutely insignificant, and yet you are in love with them and you do not want to let them go. And you want to understand, how is it possible that you can be so clearly aware of the abuse that you are enduring at the hand of someone, and yet simultaneously be so in love with them that you are not willing to let them go? So basically, you are in love with a toxic person. You are saying, he or she is toxic, but I am in love with him or her. How is this possible? To understand how it is that anyone can remain in a toxic relationship, and not just remain there because they are compelled to be there, or because there are financial or other circumstances that are keeping them stuck or trapped in a toxic relationship, but literally a situation where someone is remaining in a toxic relationship purely because they love the toxic person so much. How is that possible? Well, in order to understand that, we want to first understand how a toxic relationship is established in the first place. A toxic or narcissistic relationship is founded on a trauma bond. So, in order for a narcissist to hook you in, they trauma bond you to themselves. And how they do this is through love bombing. And, I will explain what a trauma bond is, and I'll also explain what a love bombing is. So, a trauma bond is basically when someone hurts you and simultaneously soothes that pain to create a dependency in you. You become trauma bonded to the person that is abusing you, because the inner mechanisms of a human being are designed such that you find yourself easily and naturally attached to anyone that is providing any help, that is providing any relief of any pain that you might be experiencing. And so narcissists are using this very dark and demonic tactic or technique to literally manipulate people into a relationship with them. And of course, the reason why narcissists have to do this is because they understand that they're not able to generate any relationships whatsoever if they are not doing any manipulation work. Because if a narcissist were to come to anyone transparently and honestly, the first thing that they would have to say is, hello, I'm a demonic human being, and I'm literally prowling around like a lion seeking whom to devour. And as you look at me now standing right in front of you, I'm here to devour you. I'm here to steal, kill, and destroy right here, right now, where you are concerned. Now tell me, if anyone were to come to you with that kind of a proposition, what would you do? Would you stick around? Certainly not. And so this is why narcissists can never and will never be honest. For that reason, narcissists form relationships based on a trauma bond. So they create a situation where you need them or you have a need, and then they fulfill that need. So, but in order for them to be able to come into your life, they have to identify some kind of a crack in your psychic system. And then they're going to use that crack to be able to slip in, and then they're going to blow that crack wide open. And then it becomes something whereby there's a serious need for that crack to be occupied. It becomes a gap that needs to be fulfilled, and then they are the willing candidate that will fulfill that gap. You understand? So, and then in practical terms, how they do this is they use love bombing. And love bombing is when someone overwhelms you with an overwhelming amount of attention. And you know, this is a form of manipulation. This is something that toxic people, predatory people, dark personalities, narcissistic and demonic people use to enter into your life. There are many things that are involved, many spiritual rituals that are involved with love bombing, but I'm only just going to explain the surface level stuff that we can all relate to. For more info, please watch this video, 12 Steps to a Jaded Will, Narcissistic Abuse. What typically happens is that the narcissist is also using the love bombing to test your waters. So if you are someone that is readily available to easily be love bombed, then they will know that you are dealing with that wound of abandonment and perhaps even rejection. Because, you know, if you are not love bombable, that means if you are not someone that is flattered by excessive amounts of attention, then they know that you don't really have much of a wound for them to prey on. If you are love bombable and are flattered by excessive amounts of attention, which is highly inappropriate, then this tells the narcissist that you have blind spots, unprocessed emotional wounds, and possible codependency issues. It also tells them that you have weak boundaries. All of this are cracks in your system, which the narcissist is looking to take advantage of. So, and the only reason why you will need significant amounts of attention is because there is a wound that you yourself, and a psychological wound, a spiritual wound, an emotional wound that you yourself don't know how to deal with, how to address, how to soothe, how to alleviate. And you are, you know, looking for external sources to relieve that wound for you. And so, excessive attention is one of the ways through which you are relieving that wound. So, narcissists are identifying that wound by love bombing you. They are testing the existence of that wound, and your acceptance of their excessive attention is that confirmation to them that says, okay, so there is a wound here, and then that means I can go in. And then so what they will do is they will, you know, continue to give you that copious amount of attention, you know, that excessive level of attention, to the point where, you know, you will then become addicted to the narcissist, because that excessive attention is a trauma in itself. Most narcissistic relationships are instant relationships. The two parties hardly know each other and yet will profess undying love, sleep with each other, and may even move in together within the first 3 months of knowing each other. This is love bombing. And I also just wanted to say another thing that may happen within the first 3 months of knowing each other is that the parties may fall pregnant. There is a certain level of connection with someone that you do not know that should not be allowed, especially when it comes to spending time together, you know, talking on the phone for hours, and, you know, sharing certain kinds of information. A lot of these things are just spiritual violations, you know, psychic boundary violation, the violation of the time boundary, the violation of the energy boundary, the violation of the space boundary, the violation of the information boundary. You understand? These are things that we are not taught in our everyday life when it comes to, you know, boundaries. And these boundaries are a form of psychic protection. And so when these things are compromised, what you are really experiencing there is an invasion. It's just like what's happening in America. Without boundaries, there's no way of controlling what energies are moving in and out of your space. Without boundaries, more bad people and bad energies will flood your life, whilst more healthier and safe people will become less and less. This is because healthy people respect boundaries and they don't operate where there are no boundaries, whereas bad people and energies love where there are no boundaries. If a thief wants to steal, he's not going to try the house with big walls, electric fencing, and an alarm system. He's instead going to try the vacant house with no wall, no fence, no alarm system. And because there are no boundaries, you are experiencing an invasion. It's a psychic invasion, but you are not aware. The only thing that you are noticing is the fact that things are falling apart. Everything is upside down. Nothing makes sense anymore. You can't understand how is it that things became this way. And it all started with boundaries. You understand? So your boundaries are being violated through love bombing. And because those boundaries are being violated through that love bombing, you are not aware, you are not noticing it, but it's happening. And one of the reasons why you are not aware that a violation is taking place is because whilst the narcissist is violating your boundaries, they are simultaneously pacifying them by still continuing to give you that excessive attention. So they are depriving you of enough time to be able to pause in between the interactions and to reflect on how these interactions are really affecting you. And so you are being love bombed, and that love bombing is creating a trauma bond, because during that love bombing process, three things are happening. Your boundaries are being violated, your wounds of abandonment and rejection are being amplified, and there's a reason why they're doing it, which is the third thing that is happening there. They are doing this so that they can pacify that wound. It's a Hegelian effect, right? They are creating a problem by violating your boundaries. The narcissist has now created this position where you are now easily accessible to other demonic forces, all your enemies, anyone and anything that has always wanted to come against you now has access to you. And then beyond that, you are dealing with a situation where not only did they open the doors for your enemies to come in, but they've also fiddled with your wounds so that you are in so much pain that you need something to immediately numb that pain or pacify or address that pain. And the narcissist is very quickly pacifying that pain before you can even realize the existence of it. All right, so that's that love bombing process. This is how you fall in love with a narcissist. All of this produces a certain emotional reaction within you, which is an addiction. And you will perceive this addiction as love. You will perceive this addiction as a connection, as a soul connection. You will perceive this love addiction as, something beautiful, something amazing, something great, because whenever it is that you are in euphoria, after you've consumed drugs, after you've done all of these things, you feel great, isn't it? And then you are for those few minutes convinced that it's something good. So for those few months where the narcissist is love bombing you, you are convinced that this is meant to be, this relationship is good and it's amazing. And yes, of course, the mask keeps falling from time to time, and you are seeing that there's something wrong here. There are a whole lot of red flags about this relationship, and you are not picking up on the cues that you should be running for your life here, but instead you are remaining there. And the bond between you and your abuser is getting stronger and stronger until you get to a point where you literally are completely dependent on the narcissist for your emotional well-being. You understand? You are dependent on the narcissist to feel good about yourself, to feel loved, to feel significance, to feel like you are a valid human being. And so usually this happens, within a space of 3 months or less. Once the narcissist is confident that they have successfully reached that point where they have induced you into that dark paradigm, that false reality where only you and them exist. Now you are in this toxic love affair where no one else can understand your relationship. Only you can understand, only the two of you can understand the relationship. It's amazing and it only makes sense to the two of you. Once you get to that point, that means the narcissist has successfully hooked the energy cords, the pipeline onto you, and they have attached them to those abandonment and rejection wounds that you have. And then they have connected those cords to themselves so that they can continue to extract your energy regardless of where you might be in the world. And so that's the narcissist playbook. And so it's like whatever it is that's happening in that relationship now, you're not going to be able to leave the narcissist. You're not, it doesn't matter. The narcissist could be cheating with you as you are sitting here. Hundreds, if not thousands, of women that I've dealt with have, dealt with the same thing. And not only just women, men as well. And many other people who are not even my clients themselves, people that I come across out here in the world. It's the same playbook: invasion, exacerbation of wounds, pacification. That's pretty much it. And so now, once the narcissist puts you in that position, you are willing to tolerate anything in that relationship. You will still stay. You will remain. You will be attached. You will be mesmerized. You will be in love. You will fight people. You will be willing to harm people. You will be willing to be harmed by people to maintain your relationship with the narcissist. How is this possible? How is it possible that the narcissist would be treating you like trash? Because that's how the narcissist would be treating you. They'll be very abusive. They'll be calling you names. They will be doing the most horrendous things to you. How is it possible that you will be able to stay in that relationship? The trauma bond. So the narcissist is toxic, yes, but you are in love with him. Are you really in love with the narcissist, or are you in a trauma bond? Is this really love, or is this a love addiction? Is this really a connection, or is it infatuation? Is this a real thing, or is this illusion? Are you caught up in a false reality, a fantasy? Are you caught up in a situation where your pain, your wounds have been so amplified that to tap into the paradigm of reality would be so painful to you that you would rather choose to live in a world where you are reduced to only a shell of yourself in order to maintain a toxic relationship? All right. So I would say I understand that, the person is toxic. You can see that. I understand that you feel and believe that you are in love. And I would also say that that's how you see things, that's how you feel about it. But that's not love. You are not in love. You are mind controlled at best. You are mesmerized. You are hypnotized. You are beguiled, bewitched. You are under a spell. That's really pretty much what you are dealing with. You are being psychologized, bamboozled. So, yes, he is toxic. Yes, she is toxic. But you are not in love. You are infatuated. You are intoxicated by that toxic person that you believe you are in love with. So that's my take on that. And this is how you can feel the way that you are feeling. It's not love. You think it's love, but it's not love. And so you are staying there and you are maintaining that only because your perception about reality is a little bit distorted. Once you get in touch with reality and you allow yourself to embrace the truth of the situation, then you will understand that it has never been love and it will never be love. There is better out there, and better does not always have to mean being loved by an external source. There's always an invisible force that humanity has not really fully come into contact with, that knows how to love you beyond anything in this world. And once you tap into that one, then you will understand that there's no amount of love that a human being can give you that is worth you losing your soul for. I'm really looking forward to hearing about your experience. Have you ever had a situation where a person calls you, you know, wherever it is that they are, and they tell you, I don't want you anymore, here's my new person here. And you're like, hey, there's no way, you are my person, you are my person. Have you ever been in that situation? This is what has been normalized in our society. All right. So I'm looking forward to hearing your stories and your experiences, or the experiences of people that people that you have heard about, and people that you have witnessed. And so, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Soul Tribe, Soul Family, for spending time with me on this transmission. Remember, consciousness is the new frontier. Until next time, namaste. Soul Tribe, I've got a healing course that is available on Patreon. And here it is. It's called Healing the Abandonment and Rejection Wound. Once you heal the wound of abandonment and rejection, it's very easy for you to let go of a narcissistic or a toxic person. All right. I also have a book on Amazon. It's called Healing and Integration for the Wounded Soul. I've included the link in the description box below.
I'm dreaming in dreams bigger than me, taking my time, giving to me, paint my life into a masterpiece, coloring it how I want it to be. Won't stop till I see what I want to